The best week ever in 4 years. All right, cut my music. Greg the Gold, welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends if you want to support this college football's Rebel Outpost, the home for you, the college football sickos. With a donation to help us keep the lights on and grow the channel, just hit that dollar sign where you make a comment, and I'll get you super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome on in, everybody, into the studio that sits on the corner, the very corner of Keith Jackson Parkway and Kurt Gowdy Avenue. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid to become a legend with your comments and with your phone calls. We got serious business to talk about. So we are going to get rid of the gold. I'm only going to... Look, it has been for 3.5 years, I've been the re-elected mayor of Loserville City. I have been losing, and finally I'm winning. I don't understand it. I don't get it. So let me just spend a couple of minutes. We got breaking news. James Franklin fired. Penn State fires James Franklin. I was all ready to do a show today to talk about James Franklin, Mike Norvell, Luke Fickell. It was going to be a dynamic. It was going to be called Blue Blood Carousel. It was going to be a great show. But no, Penn State has to come in and fire their head coach, James Franklin, after week 7. Week 7. Holy smokes. And Penn State, there's not many jobs better than Penn State. I ain't saying, but I'm saying, this is Penn State. The resources, the fans, the geography, they dominate the region that they're in. Penn bleeping State. We talk about the top dominoes falling in realignment, and now this private capital stuff that we're going through. Well, it's also true for the head coaching carousel. Penn State is at the top of the list, and we are going to go through the candidates that are on that list. And my goodness, of course, Kurt Signetti is on the list. Have you noticed what he's been doing? I have my thoughts on if he's going to be interested or not at age 64. Have you noticed what Indiana's? I mean, I said at the look, Greg the Gold. I said Indiana's even more talented this year than last year. And they're a very well coached team. I mean, my God, they know what they're doing. What about Matt Rule? Nebraska Cornhusker fans are like, don't even bring it up. Greg, don't even bring it up. Don't bring it up. We're finally 5-1. We finally turned the corner. We're about to beat you, Golden Gophers. We are about to beat you like a drum here coming Friday night. Nebraska is a 5.5-point favorite versus my feeble Golden Gophers this Friday night. Nebraska has not defeated the Golden Gophers in a long time. But now they're about to. Nebraska is about to finish above 500 in the Big Ten, the first time since 2017. Nebraska is in the top 25. They're number 25, for God's sakes. You can't be taking on Matt Rule when we finally have turned the corner here at college football's peak around the corner. But we are going to get into the Matt Rule possibility because, I mean, it fits like a glove. It's like the last piece of a 1,000-piece puzzle. And there are other candidates out there. And maybe there's some big-time coaches out there who are not considered candidates. But, Penn State. So we are going to go through all of that. We're going to go through the ball games. We're going to go through a little bit of what is going to be happening this week when it comes to the Big Ten public capital investment. And by the way, it makes it a little bit easier for Penn State to pull this off because they're going to have to spend $49 million on the James Franklin buyout, or $50 million, whatever the number is. My gosh, what is going on in college football? Okay, let's get through this Greg the Gold first, and then we're going to do the roll call. I want to take this gold off. I'm not used to wearing gold for 3 weeks in a row. 3 weeks in a row. Again, a smashing. Okay, South Florida, North Texas. I don't even have, look, I know what my record was. I know what your record was. Greg the Gold, I got this one wrong. I got the Buckeyes. I had that one right. I took the Pittsburgh Panthers. Got that one right. I took Missouri. I got that one right. I got Oklahoma. I got it wrong. I took Indiana. I got it right. I took Florida. I got it wrong. I took Texas Tech. I got it right. USC. I got it right. Georgia, I got it right. LSU, I got it right. BYU, I got it right. Utah, I got it right. Greg the Gold went 10-3. Greg the Gold went 10-3. And you guys, the PATC Einsteins, went 9-4. Very impressive. Very impressive. So my record for the year is 52-47 against the spread. And your record is 47-52. Now let's get to the big story here. Let's get to the big story. James Franklin fired as the head coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions. And where do they go next? Where do they go next? I want to know in your comments. We are going to open up the phone lines. We are going to open up the phone lines. I'm just taking my gold off here. I'm pouring myself a congratulatory orange cream, 0 sugar, Coca-Cola. Look at that. That is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Orange cream, 0 sugar, Coca-Cola. Let's get into it now. You can see my beautiful mug. Isn't Lane Kiffin from Nebraska? Greg, I hereby accuse you of cheating. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We got a couple of super chats. Thank you so very much. We got a lot to get to on this Aftermath show. Thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it. Aftermath of Week 7. John Teal. Call the Ohio State receiver coach. He can recruit. He can coach up explosive players. You weaken Ohio State at the same time. You do it now. Signing day in December. Thank you for the $5 holler, John Teal. I very much appreciate it. I don't think he's going to be on the coaching list, John Teal. I don't look. It's maybe in a different era, the best, most highly touted wide receiver coach in the country could get this job. But in this era of incredible change, especially the top programs are going to want to find a guy who's been in the driver's seat, who's been the CEO of an entire college football program. Hartline is going to have to start at a lower level. I don't think he can start at the Penn State level when it comes to the head coaching position. Just my opinion. My opinion only, John Till. Who knows? You might be right. You got a good theory there. You weaken Ohio State. You strengthen Penn State. I do not think Penn State is going to go in that direction. Thank you for the $5 holler, John Teal. Very much appreciate it. Thank you so very much. We got another super chat. Christopher Hooter, super chat. Greg the Gold, $48 million to buy out Franklin, whatever for the existing staff. Seems like a lot of money in this new brave world. Yes, yes, and yes. $5 holla, Christopher Hooter. Thank you so very much. However, we got to think of it this way. Well, I forgot to take my gold ring off. Sorry about that, guys. I don't want to brag too much now. I got to take off my fake gold ring. Okay, You gotta think of it this way. And Bob Swanger, Heartbreak 25, and others, hopefully you agree with me on this. Here's the equation that you have to throw in. How much money was Penn State about to lose? Because you see, Penn State receives tens and tens of $1 million in donations from their boosters. They receive millions of dollars in everything, merchandise sale, sponsorship, and when a big-time program like Penn State, not that I would have direct experience in this because I don't, and I'm never going to as a Golden Gopher, but as a big-time program, when the fan base, and it's a massive fan base, when the fan base loses hope, the program like that loses millions. Now for Minnesota, when we lose hope, the program don't lose, it loses, but it doesn't, it isn't, but Penn State, yes. So that has to be part of the equation. We do not know. We don't know. We just don't know. But anyways, thank you, Christopher Hooter. A lot of money. Yeah, a lot of money. Absolutely a lot of money. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you so very, very much, Christopher Hooter. We got Heartbreak 25, and I want to hear what he has to say today. I want to hear what Heartbreak 25 has to say. Mr. Penn State Nittany Lion, Heartbreak 25, a long-time PATC contributor and family member. James Franklin did more in the last 10 years than Paterno did in 20 years in the Big Ten. He saved Penn State from our darkest time and returned us to national relevance despite the internal haters. I will be forever grateful. I could not have said it better myself. James Franklin, look at that. I mean, look at that, what he did with Penn State, just on the wins and losses perspective. He won 0.698% of his games, 104-45. 104 wins, 45 losses. Now I got to tell you, 95% of the fan bases and programs would take that in a heartbeat, run to the ATM machine. And again, and I'll say this, nothing is for certain here. You might say, well, Penn State's got to, of course they're going to win football games, Greg. There have been plenty of programs, big time programs, that have not had this type of success since 2014. Mike Norvell, which we're going to talk about later this week. Mike Norvell, the head coach of Florida State, who went 13-0, and in my opinion, no question, got absolutely screwed. He's 20-23 in the ACC. 20-23 in the ACC. That the Seminole fan base cannot abide by that. So Tallahassee, I think Tallahassee's going to go through a major change here. I don't think it's just Billy Napier. I think it's Mike Norvell. You can't. There's something wrong in Tallahassee. When's the last time they won an ACC? So it's not automatic. Wins are not automatic even for the most powerful, best football programs out there. So James Franklin, I agree, heartbreak 25. But I also agree, the last couple of days I've been saying, before this game, before they lost to Northwestern, I kept saying, this is so wild. I do not know how James Franklin continues to be the head coach of Penn State, because this year, as you know, Heartbreak 25 and all the other Penn State Nittany Lions in the house, this was all lined up. This was all lined up for Penn State to do it this year. All the money, everything, all the development, a bunch of guys, Singleton and Kaytron Allen, and even Drew Aller coming back, and it just did not work. I don't know how they were going to be able to continue to go forward with Franklin. But he did, over the last 10 years, did a remarkable job, in my opinion. Absolutely. Thank you, Heartbreak 25. I appreciate it so very much. We got another super chat. Anthony Carlson. If you ask me what you can say, Childs failed audible, changed the game for UCLA, and maybe this is our start of our spiral. Well, I feel responsible for the Spartan spiral. I feel responsible for the Seminoles not being able to get out of the hole, because I have sat in, the fat guy from Minnesota has sat here in front of the microphone, and I have sing the praises of Joe Rossi, the defensive coordinator of Michigan State. I've sat here and sang the praises of Seminoles' new defensive coordinator, Tony White, and it ain't working. It ain't working. I put Greg the Cooler on both of them, unfortunately. So I don't think it's Aiden Childs. I don't think. Well, I'm a little worried about Childs, to be honest with you. I know it was windy in that Nebraska game. I know there was weather conditions, but Childs, he was completely not even close to the wide receivers. Anyways, but Anthony, I would like to get your opinion. It's only Jonathan Smith's second year. I think he's going to get a third year, right? I think he's going to get a third year. But let me know if you think I'm absolutely wrong that it's gotten this bad. Thank you, Anthony Carlson, for your $10 holla. I do very much appreciate it. Thank you so very much. MBM Oklahoma State Cowboy, thank you for the $5 holla. Greg, please explain why Penn State is a much better job than Indiana. Okay, well, for me to do that, I would probably have to take a few shots at Indiana. And that's probably not pretty wise because Indiana's number 3 in the country. Indiana Hoosiers, number 3 in the country. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. Congratulations to the Indiana Hoosiers. But to get back to the questions, no disrespect to Indiana. No disrespect. Things can change another 10 years from now after Kirk Cignetti has put up a couple Big Ten championships banners in the football stadium, and there's a statue of Kirk Cignetti and all that stuff. Penn State is the much better job for now. Look at the resources. Indiana's not in the poorhouse, but look at Penn State athletic. Look at their athletic department. Look at their revenue. Look at, their ticket sales. Just compare the two. I'm not taking shots at Indiana. Penn State's recruiting ground, natural recruiting ground. There is no comparison. None. Now, but I like to see this question because for the first couple of years when we did this college football YouTube channel, and people were saying, Greg, these are the schools that the Big Ten should lop off and say, go away and cut the fat out. Indiana was always listed. And I would sit there and chuckle, and Indiana's never going to be booted out of the Big Ten. But over and over and over again, we got those comments. Well, now people are saying, why is Penn State a better program than Indiana? So there is a 180-degree change about the feelings and perception of the Indiana Hoosiers. And that can happen to any program if you get a Kirk Cignetti and the miracle job that he has done. Thank you, MBM. Thank you for the $5 holla. No shot, no disrespect at Indiana, but Penn State is a massive, massive football program. Massive. John Till, Super Chat. John Till, thank you for the $5 holler. Franklin is a rock-solid B-plus coach. Penn State is a rock-solid B-plus program. Penn State fans and boosters think they have an A-status reality check. They have not. Look, John Till, I thank you for the $5 holla. I appreciate your opinion. But I think we're going to have to pull back a little bit here. We're going to have to pull back a little bit here, guys. Penn State was in the semifinals last year of the college football playoffs. Penn State was in the semifinals. And they were beating Notre Dame 10-0. So, no, this is an A program, in my opinion. This is a top-level football program. No question about it. No question about it. Anyways, let me do the roll call real quick. I appreciate it. Then we're going to go through some candidates for Penn State. And then we're going to go through the games, all the games that have happened in Week 7. My goodness. Indiana defeats Oregon 30-20 in Oregon. Holy smokes. Tough Tony's in the house. Bob Swanger is here. Dante's Inferno Purgatory. Nitwit. The Trench Grinch. John Grove. MBM. Scott Grable. The Architect. Expedition Greg. David Kreitzker. Tim Bola. waiting for the first coach to be fired when the fourth down play is unsuccessful. Micah Smith is in the house. Al Bundy is here. Talking Comics, Expedition Greg, John Famlor, the Florida Man is in the house. Johnny Two Times. Johnny Two Times, are you crazy, dude? James Franklin couldn't beat a top 5 opponent to save his life. Who else is here? Who else? Gary Pacharish is in the house. North Carolina could hire James Franklin. He would turn that program around. That's another question. Where's James Franklin going to go? Woohoo! Jason Spangler is here. We are going to talk about that Talking Comics. Tough Tony, Christopher Hooter, Stephen McNeely. Thank you for coming on in. Appreciate it. Okay, let's get into it. Breaking news, Pete Thamel, James Franklin fired. Penn State fires James Franklin. The ramifications of this is truly, I mean, Mike Norvell, Billy Napier, if Penn State is willing to do this after week 7, that might speed up the timeline of other big time programs, because now Penn State, they're going to be looking, they're going to be calling agents, they're going to be looking at everything, right? They're going to be calling agents. They're the first one on the carousel, big time program that is. Pete Thamel, the more than $49 million set to be owed by Penn State to James Franklin is the second biggest buyout in the history of college football. Texas A&M Jimbo Fisher buyout remains the most at more than $76 million. Holy smokes. Where does Penn State go from here? ESPN. The school has made significant investments in facilities, NIL, and other areas. Athletic Director Patrick Kraft, remember the name Patrick Kraft, is a football guy who wants to win at the highest level. Penn State has access to talent in the Northeast, in the Mid-Atlantic, in the Midwest, and can compete for major goals on a regular basis. The team can aim high with the candidates, including from within the Big Ten, and certainly target those with a track record of winning the biggest games, which James Franklin could not do at Penn State. The 5 candidates for the job: Nebraska coach Matt Rhule. The fit factor with Rhule at Penn State is off the charts. And again, here's the thing: when we talk about when we put out our Hotboard 1.0, Hotboard 2.0 at PATC, we don't put out more than 3 candidates at any time. And the other thing we do is we talk about, would the program have interested in that head coach? Would the head coach have interested in that program? I got to believe that Matt Rhule has great interest in this opportunity. And that's why we've got Matt Rhule number 1 on the Penn State hot board list. 1.0, Matt Rhule is number 1. Because it may not be the first direction that Penn State goes to, but if they go in that direction at all, Matt Rhule is going to pick up the phone, tell his agent, let's be in the conversation. Let's be in the conversation. Now, let's take a look at the fit. The fit factor with Rhule at Penn State is off the charts. Rule walked on for the Nittany Lions and played linebacker and also worked under Kraft at Temple. This is something that everyone's got to realize. Rule worked under Kraft at Temple, where he was the head coach from 2013 to 2016. The two remain extremely close, although that friendship and preserving it might end up reducing the chances of a reunion. Then again, how many coach AD combinations you know each other this well get a chance to link up again and chase the national championship? Rule has won at his previous college stops, Baylor and Temple, and has Nebraska positioned for a year 3 breakthrough at 5-1. He's a former NFL coach who now has some Big Ten experience and would not shy away from the magnitude of the job. Rule, age 50, also likes his gig at Nebraska and has lifted the program out of the extended slump. But can he win a national title there? He certainly can at his alma mater. Matt Rule, one of the 5 candidates according to ESPN. Indiana coach Kirk Cignetti. Indiana coach Kirk Cignetti. Arguably no move would shake up the Big Ten more than Coach Sig to Penn State. He doesn't have the relationship with Kraft that Rule does, and he's more connected to Penn State's regional rivals in Pitt and West Virginia, where he played quarterback and where his father, Frank, coached. But Cignetti has won bigger than anyone could have imagined at a historic bottom feeder, Indiana, where Kraft played football. Kraft played football at Indiana. Holy smokes. Cignetti wins, and wins big, including at his first head coaching stop, Indiana University, Pennsylvania, where he went 53-17 with 3 Division II playoff appearances. Cignetti is age 64. He could ride out the rest of his career at Indiana, but if he makes a move, it should be to a place where the resources to consistency compete for national titles. Kirk Cignetti, is he on our PATC list? Here at PATC, yes. But we don't got him at number 1. We've got him at number 3. We'll talk about number 2 here in a little bit. I'm not sure that Kurt is going to be as interested in the job as Matt Rule. I think that might be the hang-up. But you got to have him on the list. We've got him at number 3. Iowa State, Matt Campbell. Yes, again, Matt Campbell gets on another ESPN list for another head coaching job. His name has appeared often on lists like this over the years, but Campbell has stayed loyal to Iowa State, a program he built into a Big 12 contender. Penn State has long been mentioned as a program that would intrigue him, along with fellow Big Ten heavies Ohio State and Michigan, as well as Notre Dame. Campbell would bring a background in offense with a quarterback that could serve Penn State well after the end of Franklin's tenure, where the offense never consistently reached its potential. He played a season of college ball at Pitt before finishing at Mount Union, his home state of Ohio, where he spent his entire coaching career before taking the Iowa State job. The time seems right for the 45-year-old to make a big move, and Penn State would be a sensible landing spot. We do not have Matt Campbell on the top 3 list here at PATC. We got Matt Rule number 1. We got Kirk Cignetti number 3. We haven't got to number 2 yet. Duke coach Manny Diaz. There are a range of opinions on how Diaz's tenure went at Miami and ultimately how things ended up for him there. But he's positioning himself for a possible jump to a program on a similar tier to the U. Could it end up being Florida State? Could we see Manny Diaz at Florida State, his alma mater, or another program in the ACC and Southeast where he has primarily lived and coached? It's quite possible. But he also spent the 2022-23 season at Penn State as the defensive coordinator, boosting the Lions defense to nationally elite levels before heading off to Duke, where he's 13-6 in his second season. Diaz would bring a different energy to Penn State's program, an aggressive defensive philosophy that served the Lions well during his 2 seasons there. He can recruit throughout the East Coast and Mid-Atlantic in his 34-21 as an FBS coach. PATC does not have Manny Diaz on our list. UNLV coach Dan Mullen. As UNLV has surged to a 6-0 start in Mullen's first season, the market will view him in several lights. Yes, his Florida tenure fell apart in a hurry, but the issues in Gainesville clearly go beyond Mullen, who still went 34-15 with the Gators and had these 3 AP top 15 finishes. Mullen's overall record is 109-61, is very impressive. And other than Florida, he hasn't been at the top resource programs. He might not be rapid recruiter, but he's a superb quarterback developer and has the big game wins Penn State lacked under Franklin. Although most of Mullen's career took place at 2 SEC schools, Florida and Mississippi State, he was born in Pennsylvania and played college ball in the state of Pennsylvania. The 53-year-old might seek a move closer to the Northeast. Again, we do not believe that Dan Mullen, he's not on our top 3 list for the Penn State job. But those are 5 names that ESPN has put out for James Franklin. Norvell should be next, the almighty Finn. Alex Golish to Wisconsin. All right, we got some super chat, and then I'm just going to give you my opinion. I called a couple of people. We've got 3 names. We've already listed 2 of them. We haven't listed the 3rd one yet. We'll get to it in a moment. John Till. Thank you for the $5 holler. I appreciate it. B plus because there's only so much room for A. Would you pick Penn State over USC, Oregon, Ohio State, Michigan, Florida State, Miami, Texas Tech? Yeah, I would on a few of those easily. I would take Penn State over Texas Tech. You can't go Texas Tech with one. Really, they got a great team this year. I would put Penn State right along with Oregon, right along with USC. Yeah, I would definitely have them as an A job. No question about it. But thank you, John Till. I do appreciate it. You meant Texas A&M. I would have Penn State above Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M has all the resources in the world, but I mean, look at the history. You got to look at the history. Ricky Tungate, holy smokes. Massive super chat. Mr. Hoosier. Greg the Gold, good pick with your point spread. I appreciate it, Ricky Tungate. I appreciate your incredible generosity to this channel. Holy smokes. helping us grow the channel. Thank you so very kind. Again, you were there. I said Indiana. I said they were going to cover. It was going to be a very close game. And you were not scared, Ricky. You were not scared that I took Indiana. Because you have been there. You have seen up close the great turnaround at Indiana. At Bloomington, Indiana. The football program. An historic change. So you believe in miracles, Ricky. You believe in miracles. Well, you believed in Greg the Cooler could become Greg the Gold. You have never run away from me taking the Indiana Hoosiers against the spread. I appreciate it so very much. Thank you so very much. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go through more of the comments. Thank you, Mr. Tungate. Congratulations on the massive win for Indiana. Massive, massive win for Indiana. What is the bigger turnaround, Greg the Gold or Indiana? Good question. Great for Trojan. Penn State job is not equal to USC. Oregon's not a better job. They've won nothing. Phenomenal Brew. Thank goodness mediocre James Franklin is gone. The Big Lubbock. Congratulations on a massive victory. The Red Raiders are undefeated. They're number 7th in the country. Number 1, Buckeyes. Number 2, Miami. Number 3, Indiana. The Indiana Hoosiers. Number 4, Texas A&M. The Aggies. The fans are finally starting. They can finally live out their dream. They are a contender. Ole Miss slid a little bit. Went from 4 to 5. Had a little bit of problem this weekend. Alabama keeps rolling. Roll Tide keeps rolling. And the Red Raiders keep rolling. The Red Raiders are phenomenal. Oregon Ducks ran into a little bit of a speed bump against Indiana. I think they're going to get it. I think they're going to be all right. I think they're going to be okay. Georgia, I'm sorry, Don Scruggs and Wendy Scruggs, Georgia Bulldogs in the PATC community. But the Georgia Bulldogs are a very weird team. And I'm not going to, look, Georgia deserved to win that game because after that blown call, they completely dominated the second half. Auburn couldn't get any yards. So Georgia deserved to win that game. But the refs screwed Auburn on that goal line play. That ball was over the goal line. That ball was over the goal line. My goodness. If I was an Auburn Tiger fan, I would have had a stroke. And you could see that ball was over the line because when it was knocked out, the ball had to come back over the line. It's just incredible. It's just incredible. Yes, Georgia is a weird team, Dante's Inferno Purgatory. As weird as the fat guy from Minnesota. Anyways, okay. Georgia's number 9. LSU, Christopher Hooter, Ryan Brooks. I'm not, they're going to be a playoff team. Very good team. All that. But, again, I think this week was the week to show that offense, and they just don't have it at that. You know who the LSU Tigers are? You know who the LSU Tigers are? Christopher Hooter, Ryan Brooks. The LSU Tigers are the SEC Iowa Hawkeyes. You are the Iowa Hawkeyes. You are the Iowa Hawkeyes. Let that marinate a little bit. You're very good. A lot of teams would love to be in your position. A lot of people would love to be 10th ranked in the country. A lot of people would love to have that tough quarterback. A lot of people would love to have that tough defense. A lot of people would love to play in that football stadium. But that offense ain't gonna be able to turn it on. Ryan Brooks, 2 turnovers at 1, could have made it 34-10. Okay, all right, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Coulda, shoulda, woulda, woulda. I'll give you another week. Who does LSU play next week? I'll give them another chance to see if they can turn up that offensive potential that they have. Tennessee, number 11. Joey Swagular. I don't know. They had some problems this week again on defense. Number 11. Georgia Tech, number 12. Georgia Tech, they might be going to the playoffs. Notre Dame, number 13. Notre Dame and USC. My. That is a battle. That game means everything. Thank God for the expanded playoffs, because if it wasn't, Notre Dame and USC, especially Notre Dame with 2 losses, would be out on the outside looking in. But because of the expanded playoffs, Notre Dame has another opportunity. Beat USC, run the table, and the Irish are in. USC now has a good chance. They just got to keep it together. USC can make the playoffs. Oklahoma, number 14, and I'm afraid that the Sooners are going to start their slide. BYU wins the game in overtime. Another dramatic finish for BYU on the road. They get it done. Bear Bachmeier is tough, gritty. Congratulations to the BYU Cougars as you line up to play the Utah Utes in the Holy War. Holy smokes. My Missouri Tigers could not quite get it done. Lost by 3. Cover the spread, but I thought they were going to win. They go to 16. Vanderbilt 17. Virginia 18. They had a bye week. South Florida won big against North Texas. They're at 19. USC, they've got so much offensive talent on that team. Now they're very their running back is injured. One of their elusive running backs are injured, but USC at number 20. The Longhorns 21. Memphis 22. Undefeated Memphis Tigers. Utah Utes 23. The Cincinnati Bearcats. Cincinnati say, don't forget about us. Don't forget about us. And then Nebraska is at number 25. And again, Nebraska's at number 25, right? Nebraska is at number 25. Well, they finally got to number 25. They're on the way back, right? However, this is what I said on my X account. Maybe the Cornhuskers won't be able to keep their concentration during this week of practice. Not asking for any particular reason. Nebraska, number 25 in the country. 5-1 under Matt Rule. This Friday night comes to Minnesota and plays my beloved anemic Golden Gophers, but maybe Nebraska is not going to be able to, they're going to lose their concentration because they know that Matt Rule is number 1 in the PATC hot board list to become the new head coach of Penn State. Okay, so let us, let me see if I caught up on everything here. Hold on. Nebraska had a brutal game. We had a brutal game, Tony. We had a brutal game. The Gophers were brutal. Absolutely. We'll get into it in a moment here. TH3, Greg just wants to beat my beloved Huskers. The Red Raiders are freaking legit. Absolutely. Where will the bits of the broken chair trophy end up? John Famlor, I'm just not seeing who is a slam dunk candidate for Penn State's job if Cignetti says no. Gophers will probably end. Nebraska stay in the top 25. I don't know. We'll talk about it in a moment here. Okay, let's hold on, everybody. Hold on. We are going to go through these scores real quick. And then we're going to open up the phone lines because, well, let's go through the scores quickly. And then I want to talk a little bit about what could be massive breaking news this week about the Big Ten doing the potential public capital investment deal. Been talking to some people a little bit more on that. So we'll get into it here in a moment. Virginia Tech, Georgia Tech. The Ramblin' Wreck goes 6-0, 3-0 in the ACC. Georgia Tech's pathway to the playoffs is pretty clear. There's a good chance there's going to be two schools coming in from the ACC into the playoffs. Georgia Tech has a great chance. Notre Dame 36-7. Their season rests on the game versus USC next week. Pittsburgh 34, Florida State 31. I cannot see Mike Norvell lasting much longer. It's not working. It's not working. 34-31. And by the way, the Panthers have a very, very, very good and exciting quarterback for the next couple of years. So the Panthers football program is in pretty good shape if they can get some more talent around that quarterback. SMU wins big. Wake Forest defeats Oregon State. And again, hold on a second here. Oregon State fired their head coach, Trent Bray. 0-7 start. The Oregon State Beavers fire their head coach. That was breaking news earlier today. Clemson 41 and Boston College 10. That was in the ACC. Now let's go to the Big 12. Texas Tech beats Kansas. Big. 42-17. Will Hammond had to come in for injured the Red Baron Morton. But again, Will Hammond looks good. 42-17, Red Raiders. BYU wins a 2-overtime exciting game. I watched that. I watched all the way to the end. 33-27. Congratulations to the BYU Cougars. 6-0, 3-0 in the Big 12. Utah 42, Arizona State 10. The Sun Devils did not have much of a chance without their quarterback playing in that game. Colorado upsets the Iowa State Cyclones 24-17. Again, the Cyclones just do not have enough juice in that offense. They lost their big-time receivers last year in the NFL draft. They just could not replace it. They could not replace that juice. Cincinnati's defense rises up and defeats UCF 20-11. Congratulations to the Bearcats. 3-0 in the Big 12. Cincinnati is 3-0 in the Big 12, and their only loss was to another 5-1 team, the Nebraska Cornhuskers. Look what Willie Fritz is doing at Houston. 39-17, 5-1, 2-1 in the Big 12. The Houston Cougars, that program has been revived. TCU took it on the chin. Second loss in the Big 12. That's going to take the Horned Frogs out of it. 41-28, the Kansas State Wildcats defeat the TCU Horned Frogs. Now in the Big 10. Again, on that Friday night, Washington 38, Rutgers 19. The Buckeyes 34-16, Illinois. They never quit in that game. They got it, they kept going and going. Julian Sayin is my number one on the Heisman watch list going into week 8. He's my number one. We'll go through that list tomorrow. 1 through 6 is actually 1 through 7. We got a tie at number 6. Carson Beck and Marcel Reed are tied at number 6 on our Heisman watch list here at PATC. The Buckeyes 34, Illinois 16. Indiana, the big game on the road, defeat the mighty Oregon Ducks 30-20. What a game. What a football game. It was physical. The Hoosiers were physical with the Oregon Ducks. Fernando Mendoza is also on my Heisman watch list. I believe he's number 3. We'll go through it tomorrow. Indiana 30, Oregon 20. Again, everything is still ahead for the Oregon Ducks. And of course, everything is ahead for the Indiana Hoosiers. Right now, Oregon is number 8 in the AP poll. Indiana, number 3. USC 31, Michigan 13. What Michigan needs to do is to get some true high elite talent at the wide receiver position for next year. Whatever Michigan has to do, that's what they got to do. They are deficient. They don't have the juice on offense. They just don't. 31-13 USC. UCLA mops up on the Spartans 38-13. Holy smokes. UCLA is 2-1 in the Big Ten. The Spartans are 0-3. I do think Jonathan Smith gets another year. Let me know, Sparties, Anthony Carlson, and everybody else. Let me know if you think I am being completely wrong on that. But I think Jonathan Smith will get another year. But let me know. Northwestern 22, Penn State 21. James Franklin fired as the Penn State head coach earlier today. That's the story we are covering. Northwestern 22, Penn State 21. Penn State 0-3 in the Big Ten. A mighty collapse for a mighty football program. But who's Penn State new head coach going to be? That is going to be a major storyline for the next couple of months. Nebraska 34, Maryland 31. Nebraska goes to 5-1, 2-1 in the Big Ten. They've turned the corner. Iowa embarrasses the Wisconsin Badgers. 37-0. Luke Fickell at the end of the game said, we can't go any lower than this. This is it. This is the bottom. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's basically what he said. The Iowa Hawkeyes now play Penn State without their starting quarterback, without their head coach next week. Then the Hawkeyes play the Gophers. The Hawkeyes are going to be big favorites in that game. The Iowa Hawkeyes are not out of the Big Ten. They're not out of the Big Ten race. 2-1, looking very good. Minnesota 27, Purdue 20. Well, Minnesota won, correct? That's what it said on the scoreboard, right? The Gophers, once again, lost the line of scrimmage decisively. The Gophers' offensive line could not block the defensive line made up of the Big Lubbock, the Village Idiot, Florida Man, Elliott Howard, Dante's Inferno Purgatory. The Gophers could not block that defensive line. The Purdue Boilermakers destroyed my beloved Golden Gophers. The Purdue Boilermakers. That is where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. The total yards were 460-something to 260-something. The Gophers just got smashed. Now Purdue, in Purdue's way, kept giving us the football, and Corey Pirch, the great Gophers safety, made a pick six late in the game. Gophers escape. Again, they're 2-1 in the Big Ten. Both those wins against Rutgers and Purdue, the Gophers have lost mightily on the line of scrimmage. Gopher fans, don't yell at me. It's not my fault. I got to say it how it is. We got absolutely destroyed again. What do you think's going to happen against Nebraska and Iowa the next 2 games? This ain't the goal. What happened to our offensive line? And our defense is, woo. Drake Lindsay, thank God you're our quarterback because, very tough. It was brutal. Nebraska, it was not good. Okay, well, I'm not going to mention that game again for the rest of the week. Terrible. Got the win, all that, but we got so many issues and they cannot be solved. Not this year. Okay. And, of course, the Southeastern Conference. Ole Miss struggles. They defeat Washington State 24-21. Now, they only went down 1, right? They went from 4 to 5 in the AP poll. Ole Miss barely, the AP voters, that's fine, Ole Miss, that's fine. Texas A&M, 34-17. Texas A&M, do-si-dos with Ole Miss. A&M takes the 4 spot in the AP poll. Texas 23, Oklahoma 6. Again, I fear an Oklahoma slide is about to start. Arch Manning made some good plays in this game. That cannot be denied. Texas beats the rival Sooners. Alabama 27, Missouri 24. Ty Simpson is number 2 on my list. Number 2 on my list. Eli Drinkwitz. We're gonna talk about him in a moment. Eli Drinkwitz, the head coach of Missouri. Georgia 20, Auburn 10. We talked about that earlier. LSU, South Carolina. We talked about that earlier. Like to see some more offense from LSU. Georgia is a weird team. Tennessee 31, Arkansas 34-31, Tennessee. So, as a surprised name that is on the PATC 1.0 head coach hot board for the Penn State Nittany Lions, we've got number 1, Matt Rule, number 3, Kirk Cinetti. We're going to throw in number 2, Eli Drinkwitz. Eli Drinkwitz is on our hot board list. He might have to come off in a couple weeks. He might sneak up at number 1. He's not being mentioned anywhere except for here, I believe, here at PATC. Drinkwitz is number 2 on that list. We'll talk about it more later this week. Okay. We are going to open up the phone lines because I want to hear from Penn State fans, anybody who wants to talk about what just happened with Penn State. How did the collapse happen so quickly, so suddenly? And who do you want to turn it around? Do you want Matt Rule? Do you think you can get Cignetti? What big other names are out there that you think Penn State can get? Is there an NFL former or current coach that you want to try to get Penn State? We are going to open up the phone lines right now. You can talk about anything in college football, though. When you make the phone call, the floor is yours. The phone line is open. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. Give us a call.
Call from
Evil Badger.
Evil Badger is on the line. I did not miss a super chat from you, did I, sir?
No.
Okay,
No.
I apologize for the other day, sir.
That's okay, Greg. Thanks for taking my call.
You got it. Floor is yours, my man. 37-0. Woo!
People around the Wisconsin, well, the entire fan base they want him fired as of now.
Yep.
They want him out. They don't want to wait. If it were me making the decision, as soon as he got back off the field back in the locker room last night, he would have been fired on the spot. We've gone to a place that we haven't been in for more than 30 years.
Yeah, this is bad. Yep.
And all of the podcasters, all over the radio stations in the Royal Madison area are calling for his job now. They did it to Paul Chris. They fired him during the season. They definitely should fire Fickle now.
So, Ryan Willie, I have been under the belief that the Badgers would not fire Fickle during the middle of the season or during the season. I think I'm probably going to end up being wrong because, and that's the thing, Penn State firing James Franklin, that story is not just about Penn State. It affects everybody. It's affecting Florida State, I believe. I think it's affecting Florida because now you got the big cheese out there, Penn State, who are basically first one in the door at that level of job. And now they're being active with all these agents. They're lining things up already in interviews and are you interested? And Penn State lines up the money and I think this affects, and then it has a trickle down effect, and I think this is all going to affect Wisconsin as well. Now, one thing though, if you look at, again, unfortunately we have to look at this, but if you look at, give me a moment here. If you look at Wisconsin's brutal schedule, as we've been talking all year, I think it would be criminal to fire the head coach before they play Ohio State. The week they play Ohio State, Oregon, it's just Washington, Indiana, Illinois, Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota is the only game you have a chance of even competing in.
I'm not sure.
But I don't think you can fire him before you play the Buckeyes because that's just going to cause a change in everything. I don't think you do it before they play the Buckeyes because it's going to be bad enough as it is. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, last night, ESPN Madison was the host for the post-game show where we're saying, could the Badgers be beat by Ohio State worse than they beat some FCS school that they played earlier this year?
Yeah.
70-0.
Yeah. It's going to be bad.
And it's like, the people want Fickle gone as of today. They don't want to wait till Tuesday because of the holiday tomorrow. They don't want to wait till Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that I went to the Brewer game last night instead of the Badger game.
Yeah, you told me that. Yep.
Yeah. So, well.
Yeah,
that's the latest update.
Yeah, it's tough. Ryan Willie, I think you might end up being correct. I think it's going to happen before the season's over.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for taking my call.
You got it, buddy. Appreciate the phone
call. All right.
call.
Bye.
You got it. Beautiful call, Ryan Willie. MBM makes a great comment here.
from?
Christopher Hooter.
Christopher Hooter, can you just wait? Can you wait one moment, please?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate it. MBM makes a great comment. Neuheisel is why you fire mid-season. You don't know who can step up before a coach search happens. Neuheisel calling the offensive plays at UCLA. MBM, that's a great point. That's a great point. You may be able to get some hope during the season rather than waiting later in the season. Great comment, MBM. Christopher Hooter, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it.
Well, just to pick up on that UCLA point, they seem to be playing inspired ball. They just put it to Michigan State too, so maybe beating Penn State was not a fluke.
Yeah.
So Penn State lost to a good Oregon team. UCLA, they're inspired. I mean, they were playing emotional ball, and Northwestern's still pretty scrappy. It's not like they're terrible.
Yeah, but you don't lose that game after losing your first two Big Ten games. You're at home. You don't lose to Northwestern. As respectful, that just can't happen. That can't happen.
Well, yeah. Yes, but we're in an era of parity now. We're in an era of the transfer portal and NIL. Well, maybe we are, right? That's just sort of like, and there's a learning curve. There's an expectation learning curve. That's I don't know. That's just sort of my hunch.
Yeah.
But on my LSU Tigers, my Iowa of the SEC.
Yes.
Okay.
By the way,
it's painful to watch them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when I say that, I mean Iowa just spanked Wisconsin. Iowa's going to spank the Gophers in 2 weeks. So I'm not saying you're. It's just. The offense is, you can kind of tell. You let me know. Do you have any hopes that LSU's offense is going to get better here in the second half of the season? I'll shut up.
Well, let me give you the schedule. Okay, Now this is not with this coming week they play Vanderbilt, who's coming off a bye week.
Yeah.
Who lost to Alabama. So Vanderbilt's been preparing for 2 weeks for a home game. Oh, Vanderbilt's pretty good. I can't believe I'm saying that.
Yeah,
right?
They are.
That's a tough gig, right? Now, this is not in order, but our away games are on the final schedule is Vanderbilt, which is going to be tough, Bama, right, and Oklahoma. Those are our away games remaining. Okay? Mm-hmm. Our home games are Texas A&M, who, in my opinion, looks like the best team in the conference, and Arkansas, who keeps playing hard, just can't win.
Yeah.
And then we have a Little Sisters of the Poor game versus Western Kentucky. Mm-hmm. So which will win that one. So you got Vandy, Bama, OU, Texas A&M, and Arkansas in no particular order. Well, I don't know if we go 3-2 in that stretch. I think we'll be fortunate. I don't know what's wrong with Nussmeier. I don't know what's happened to him.
Yeah, is he? I mean, is he injured or hurt or what's going on?
Well, that's the rumor, right? He's got some abdominal tear or something.
Yeah, because he's not throwing the football the same way he threw it last year.
Right, and we did. Kelly did have to rebuild the offensive line, so it's probably not where it was last year. We had a really good Will Campbell. We had a really good offensive lineman go to the draft, right, and all. But and without the offensive line, nothing looks good, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well.
And you could argue that Nuss, he's not Jaden Daniels, right? And if you're going to run that read option, you need kind of a nifty quarterback. I think that's what the read option's for, and that's not Nuss.
Yeah.
Nuss reminds me of John Elway. He does not remind me of Jaden Daniels.
Although he doesn't have the arm strength of John Elway, though.
Well, not this year. He doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah.
Not this year. You could argue last year he did. So we'll see. LSU's pretty scrappy. I can be kind of critical of my alma mater there, so maybe they'll surprise me. But by this point in the season, I just would have hoped the offense would show me. So they had 2 red zone turnovers, and fumbled another one on the 1 foot line, but recovered it.
Yeah.
You can't. They had. You just can't be doing that in the red zone, right?
Yeah.
So, so that was pretty disappointing. So that's LSU there.
Yeah.
I think LSU's too high in the polls. I don't think they ought to be 10. What is Ole Miss doing? Right?
Yeah.
I think they're too high too, and I think Missouri dropped too far.
Yeah, I think Missouri dropped too far. I agree with you.
Yep, I thought Missouri played pretty good.
At this point, I would put Missouri ahead of Oklahoma.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If a couple, they didn't really have much of a downfield passing game. I think that's what kind of cost them. But anyway, if they play that game, another 2 or 3 times, they're going to win one of them, right? So, who knows? Maybe they'll get another crack at them in the SEC championship game or something. But anyway, that's my sort of SEC rant.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Enjoy the program.
Call again, sir. Thank you. Christopher Hooter, LSU Tiger.
Go back.
I lost the phone. Call again, sir. Whoever that was. There we go.
Call from
TH3.
TH3. Can you hold on a minute, please?
Yes, I can.
I appreciate it. Just be a second here. I also saw South Carolina fired their offensive line coach. I'm sitting here complaining about the Gophers' offensive line, which has hit a level of, man, it is rough. But South Carolina has not had an offensive line. South Carolina Gamecocks have not had a decent offensive line since the Richard Nixon administration. That's where we're sitting there. So it was good that they fired their offensive line coach. We do have a super chat that I want to get to before we get to the Nebraska Cornhusker. That's on the line, TH3. Holy smokes. Super chat, the evil badger, Ryan Willett. Players have quit on Fickle. Fickle has quit on the players. Ryan Willie wants everybody to know that everybody has quit. I didn't even see the football players. None of them were doing the third quarter, between the third quarter, fourth quarter, jumping around. Nobody was jumping around. That's how things have slid in Madison. Thank you, Ryan Willie. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. TH3, thank you for your patience. The floor is yours.
If you would have told me at the beginning of the season I would rather be playing Wisconsin than UCLA or Northwestern, I would have called you crazy, honestly.
It's true.
But what the Big Ten does not know what it's doing right now. It's pure chaos in that conference.
Yeah.
I think you know why I called in, though, about your number 1 coaching candidate.
Yes, Matt Rule. Let's cause some nervousness in Lincoln. That's what we're doing here at Peek Around the Corner. It's cloak and dagger. Go ahead, sir.
I would probably say, no insight on my end, it's probably DEFCON 3 in terms of measures. We're aware. There's a little bit of hesitation just because yesterday's win was a great win, and I don't think anybody wants to get rid of him anytime soon. So the fact we're seeing success right away and then all of a sudden Penn State wants to come along and rumors are they're going to take him. I don't personally think they're going to take him, but that's just my take, and I'll explain later. It just stinks. Hopefully it doesn't leak in the locker room, but just this has potential to mess things up for a little bit. I will say, though, I understand why Matt Rule is probably the favorites on a lot of people's because he went to Penn State. He's best friends with the AD. I get it. It makes sense. One big thing to keep in mind, though, is the buyout that Penn State would have to pay Nebraska for him.
Yep.
So, go ahead.
No, I agree. Penn State would have to spend a lot of money, not on just James Franklin, but on Matt Rule, James Franklin's coaching staff, and then bring in what Matt Rule wants.
Well, and so on top of this, too, like Nebraska kind of knew the whole Matt Rule situation, and we wrote in a clause in the contract that you have to pay the remaining buyout if he goes to your school. So on top of the $49 million Penn State would have to pay, I've seen figures up to like $48 million that Penn State would have to pay to Nebraska. So it's one of those, are you going to pay $100 million before you even pay the guy? And I don't know if Penn State will or not. They have the money to do it. It's just I don't know if they want to do it.
Yeah. There's something about when a school wants its number one target and that number one target wants to go there, they usually work it out, right? That's the thing.
Yeah.
So now, is Matt Rule Penn State's number one target, though? Really?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, who? So,
I have a few crazy names out there because, like, when I think about like Penn State's biggest weaknesses the past couple of years, the big issues are the offensive end of the ball, specifically the passing game, has been relatively bad ever after Bill O'Brien left. And then I would say winning the big games. Matt Rule finally has a quarterback who can throw the ball, but he's 2-20 against top 25 teams. Are you going to fire James Franklin for that? Because I don't know how their fan base would respond to that. Like I love Matt Rule. He's done wonders in Lincoln. Like he's fixed a lot of stuff that has gone wrong, and I will forever be grateful to him. But to sit here and say I think he's a tier 1 head coach or a tier 2 head coach, I think is just saying a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was Penn State, would you try to poach a Lincoln Riley? Like, I'm just throwing that name out there.
Yeah, possibly. One of the let me say a couple of things. One of the things is what Matt Rule would be able to do in short term is like Penn State's recruitment classes, right? Who they got committed. Yeah. I think there was one guy who already decommitted this morning. But Matt Rule, being from that area, might be able to solidify that recruiting class better than like a Lincoln Riley. Because Matt Rule goes up there. He's got that Northeastern ties, Pennsylvania ties, Temple. He recruits up there. He might be able to put that together. We do have I'm going to call this breaking news. We got a breaking report. Okay. Hang on. Mike J. Is it Asti? I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I apologize. The managing editor of West Virginia Sports Now, Pittsburgh Sports Now, national writer at Yardbarker, contributes to Sirius XM. He is saying sources at Penn State, I have been told that Adidas drove the James Franklin firing and why it happened today. They are committed to pay most or all of the money. They also wanted a new coach before recent losses, but they made it hard for anyone at Penn State to argue. So supposedly this guy is saying that Adidas is going to pay most or all of the buyout money for James Franklin. I don't know if I buy that at all, but I'm just putting that out there. TH3, continue on, sir.
If that is true, that makes me feel a lot better about Matt Rule because we are also an Adidas school, and Adidas, in terms of program relations, has treated us the best of any program in the country. So that makes me feel a
That's
little
a good-
bit better on that.
Yeah, I can understand that logic. Yep, if it's true. Yep.
And I realistically, I don't think Adidas wants programs within to be poaching each other's players and talent.
Yeah.
Like, I only threw Lincoln Riley out there in the sense of, like, Penn State has the defensive talent to focus on the defensive end, to where Lincoln Riley wouldn't even need to worry about it. You just need a sense of direction from him.
Mm-hmm.
And Lincoln Riley can win the big games. He has the elite passing game with the elite wide receivers, which is something that Penn State's lacking, or like even a Lane Kiffin. You know, like I'm looking at those guys more than a Matt Rule type.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. No, you make a good point. I don't think Lane Kiffin's going to have interest. I think he's going to stay in the Southeastern Conference. But
yeah, and I'll probably just close with this thought right here. I know there's a lot of happy Penn State fans today with James Franklin being gone. All I'm going to say is be careful, because as a Husker fan, I have experience in this. You made the semifinals in the playoffs last year. I understand Franklin didn't win the big ones. I understand the program went downhill. I thought it was disrespectful what they did to him.
Mm-hmm.
I personally would have kept him until the end of the season. Just because he's been there for a decade. He saw it through like the darkest point at that program's history. And to do that to him, you got to wonder if there's going to be a little bit of hesitancy with coaches out there.
Yeah, that's a great point. Excellent point, TH3.
But thank you for taking my call. Hopefully we beat the Gophers, but knowing my Huskers, I like to catch in big moments.
I think I would be quite surprised if you did not beat the Gophers this week.
I will say this schedule for us got a lot easier down the stretch now.
Yeah, it's
so.
Yeah, this ain't the Fleck Gopher team that's been beating Nebraska. You know, this ain't that type of team. I don't know what we got in front of us. We got a very young quarterback who's really good, but
is he mobile?
He's not mobile. No, he's a statue.
Okay,
but he throws a beautiful football. He's very good. He's going to have a great career. But we have an offensive line that can't block. Running backs don't have a shot. Wide receivers don't get separation. But other than that, everything is just fine. So,
yeah, and Maryland's quarterback is ridiculously good. I got to get Malik Washington. That's an NFL first-round pick in 2 years. He is really good.
Yeah,
because he threw for like 208 yards on us when we had the best passing defense in the country.
Yeah.
I got to give that kid props. He was amazing.
Yeah.
But thank you for taking my call, Greg.
All right, appreciate it, sir.
Yep, thank you.
You got it. Beautiful call.
From
Nitwit,
Mr. Penn State Nittany Lion. Thanks for calling, sir. I appreciate it. Can I just hold off 1 second? I just want to show something here.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Texas Tech quarterback Darren Morton has an X-ray and an MRI testing scheduled for later today. We'll know more about his status after that, sources tell On3 Sports. So keep your head on a swivel when it comes to Darren Morton, the quarterback of Texas Tech who had to leave the game last night. Keep an eye on that. Will Hammond is a very capable backup. But let's keep an eye on that story for later today. Nitwit, I appreciate you calling. You are an original PATC Nittany Lion. I'm very happy you called. The floor is completely yours. Tell us what you're thinking right now.
Man, I tell you what, this has been a tough one, and there's some reflection time now that everything is finalized with Coach Franklin. He'll always be Coach Franklin to Penn State fans, as much as people sit there and think we hate James Franklin and we wanted him to be fired. He brought us out of the dark ages. Yeah. He modernized that program. whoever is going to be the coach at Penn State will owe a lot to Coach Franklin. The facilities are phenomenal. I mean, he brought us into a new recruiting area, got the NIL up, kept pushing for upgraded facilities. I mean, on those ends, with the recruitment of great players and NFL prospects and bringing them along, we owe Penn State will always owe a big gratitude to Coach Franklin. And I thank you for putting that up, because I really want to thank him.
Yeah.
Think about coming out of sanctions and building that program. 2016 was the turning point. You saw that Minnesota game. You remember that when Shaquan Barkley.
Yes.
I think people need to do the epilogue on Franklin. I think college football did Franklin dirty. I think in 2016, when we upset Penn State and they didn't put him in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Recruits that were lining up because Penn State was going to make the playoffs kind of backed out. That could have been a better if we would have made the playoff at that time, and instead of putting Ohio State in, program could have been on a different trajectory. Do you understand what I mean?
Yep.
Under Franklin, but since they chose to put Ohio State in over Penn State, I think the program probably was hindered a little bit and could have been on a major trajectory under Franklin if he would have made the playoff.
Yep.
And that year. And I always go back to that and point to that as a turning point. Ever since that moment, the narrative has been, you can't make the playoff, you can't win the big game, and that's and I, like I said, I think college football did him dirty when he beat Ohio State and put Ohio State in the playoff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Franklin, amazing coach. I think people need to get inside. I had a front row seat of this over the last week. I have two family members in that locker room. The level of meltdown that was going on is just unbelievable. It's unfathomable. Like, people say, well, they didn't treat him right. They fired him. Like, there was no way he could come back and coach another football game at Penn State.
Yeah.
You cannot have your head coach on the sideline and having fans saying fire Franklin for the rest of the year. We already started losing recruits. Basically the UCLA loss was the nail in the coffin. It ended his era. And for whatever that was, whatever the Penn State team that went and lost to Oregon in a close game, and whatever the players' reactions was, it was a big letdown. It just kept spiraling and spiraling and spiraling. And that game yesterday was surreal in a sense.
Yeah.
Like, there was people kind of hinting this is it. Like, I could see Pat Kraft's reaction on the sidelines. I'm on the side. See Pat Kraft's reaction after the loss. Then you go through the 24 hours. I reported on my Twitter, hey, he's getting fired. People started laughing at me. Oh, he can't get fired. There's a buyout. No, he's getting fired.
Yeah.
Because if you know the relationships in that locker room, Franklin knew at his press conference he was going to be fired.
I think so. Yeah.
He had his family there. He had some friends there. Just the way he interacted with the reporters, he knew he was getting fired. I put up on it right after that. Franklin's getting fired. He will not coach another game at Penn State. Then I turned to the locker room. The players. Franklin didn't lose the players. He has a great relationship with the players. They all love him. It's a tough situation, but there was no way that James Franklin could have coached another game for Penn State football. And it's not be careful what you wish for. It's the conditions on the ground were so volatile that, and I did post up too, Pat Kraft played a major role in this. I think it was the best decision for Franklin and his family. I don't know. There was a reporter that asked him, do you want to be the coach of Penn State anymore? And he basically said, I'm dedicated to the players in the locker room, didn't mention anything about Penn State or the administration or commitment. So it's really, to me, I think it was a missed opportunity when I look back, partly himself. I think Todd McShay had a great analysis of James Franklin, where you have this, the movie with the submarine with the selfish captain that tyrannical or selfish, and he's kind of runs the ship until everything's okay until things aren't, and then when things aren't okay, things go really bad really fast, and that's what happened to Franklin. Once things started going bad, really fast. And, I just feel like as a Penn State fan, you can't sit there and think that the results were acceptable. Whether you're taking that risk, people don't understand, it was already being kicked off. You already lost your number one receiver in the 2027 class.
Yeah.
The number one running back was already decommitting with Franklin. Once that starts spiraling, you can't stop it.
And maybe there was money that was going to be pulled from the program, from boosters.
Yeah, boosters. There was 2 boosters that I knew of that were calling Pat Kraft and said, we can't put that out there on national TV because you can't get Fire Franklin every quarter at Beaver Stadium and have that on national TV. So I know fans, be careful what you wish for, but I look at it this way. There are so many games in his tenure that it's not only the big losses, Greg. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the loss to Minnesota in when you're heading to the playoff. You went out there.
That was a good Minnesota team, though.
I know, but it was. But you have to sit there and say we're Penn State.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be losing 1-score games to, Northwestern, or winning 1-score games against Northwestern. If the goal is Ohio State, you can't, that's not, he never put the whole picture together.
Yeah.
He never had.
How many offensive coordinators did he go through? It just.
Right.
Yeah.
He never put the whole, somebody said today, they went down through his history of, when he started out, he had great receivers, great running backs, and no offensive line. Then he had a great defense and a great quarterback, and then he still didn't have an offensive line. Then it was now he doesn't have receivers. He just never put the complete. As a good coach, as a championship coach, you got to put the complete package together, and Franklin never did that. And I think as soon as I saw pictures of him on the sideline with cards calling the plays, I knew it was over. He just never, he could never not micromanage everything and put himself as the top of the program and let these people accomplish what they were hired to do. Obviously, 3 offensive coordinators. You can't have 3 wonderful offensive coordinators come in, and then even the one offensive coordinator, I think he's the Toledo coach or the one that went to Mississippi State, who was the offensive coordinator when Saquon was there in that 2016-17 run. they don't even have a good relationship. You know what I mean? So obviously there's something wrong there. And when there's something wrong there, you can't just, you can Band-Aid it, and you could sit there and say, we'll just have so much talent. We're going to recruit talent to Penn State, and we're going to win we're going to win the games that we think we need to win, that we can win, and then we're just going to accept the losses to the big teams. I just don't think that's going to happen. So I appreciate you taking my call, Greg.
You got it, buddy.
And
thank you for
you
your
take
time.
care now, okay?
Thank you for your time,
Bye.
sir. You got it.
Yep, bye.
PATC original, Nittany Lion, Nitwit, giving us his thoughts on what's going on. Beautiful, beautiful phone call. Absolutely beautiful phone call. Like the one time I got real nervous about James Franklin, is when he hired Kirk Ciarrocca. I mean, Kirk Ciarrocca and PJ Fleck, they had a great thing going, right? 2019, they defeated Penn State. They finished number 10th in the country. The Gophers finished 10th in the country. They won a January 1st bowl game against Auburn. And then, of course, 2020, what happens? COVID. Finally, the Gophers have a sensational season, and COVID just ripped whatever. I don't want to play the victim, although I am. But Kirk Ciarrocca had been PJ Fleck's coordinator for a long time, and then he went to James Franklin got him to go to Penn State. Kirk Ciarrocca is going to be making more money, and Kirk Ciarrocca is from West Virginia, closer to his home, all that stuff. Okay. But then when Kirk Ciarrocca got there, Kirk Ciarrocca called the offense that he calls, that has been so successful. RPO, get the linebackers to suck in and throw the slant passes over the middle of the field and have an outside zone run. Kirk Ciarrocca has an offense. It's not all that big a playbook, but it's an effective playbook. Kirk Ciarrocca doesn't throw to his tight ends. Rutgers, if there's any Rutgers fans, when's the last time Ethan Caliac-Manis has thrown to one of your tight ends? It doesn't happen. He's got his offense. It's max protection, protect the quarterback, whatever. Well, he goes to Penn State and he's calling his offense, and from what I've heard, Franklin was like, what the hell's this? Well, that is what you hired. And I think Ciarrocca was there for 1 year and said, I'm out of. That is when does he have a real plan? Like, what exactly is going on there with the offense? That's when I got a little shook. And then he brought Colton Nicky in there. But anyways, we've got a couple of super chats. Thank you so much, Nitwit. Thank you, Ryan Willa. The Evil Badge. Maybe they'll fire Fickle after next week so his and his family can ride the Ohio State bus to Columbus. Thank you for the $5 holla, Ryan Willie. Maybe. Now, after that game, you got Oregon. I don't know how conducive it would be to fire a head coach right before you play two of the top 10 teams in the nation. This is my prediction. The Badgers fire Luke Fickell after the Oregon game. There it is, Ryan Willie. That is my prediction. In 3 weeks, Luke Fickell will be gone. Thank you for the $5 holla. I do appreciate it so very much, Evil Badger, Ryan Willie. We've also got a beautiful super chat, a beautiful comment, a beautiful moment in college football in Boone's Pickens Stadium. Did you see MBM Super Chat? Did you see what happened in section 231 at Boone Pickens Stadium? Yes, I did, and it was beautiful. One guy, I guess it was off a bet or something, a wager for him to go up there and do it. A guy goes up there in the stands, it's empty stands. He takes off his t-shirt, orange t-shirt, and starts like this, like a helicopter. Another guy gets up to him, stands up to him. He goes like that with the t-shirt. More and more people come. More and more people join. In section 231 is filled with Oklahoma State Cowboy fans. There's hundreds of them whipping that thing around. Look, MBM, the Oklahoma State Cowboys, you got to take that. You got to take that and you got to make it part of being a Cowboy. It's got to be part of the lore in that stadium. Tarps are off. Solidarity is part. It was powerful. It was great. Only in college football do you have a moment like that. Only in college football. Even when the program is down and out, the fans make it an event. That was special. Shame on me for not bringing that up. Thank you, MBM. Shame on me for not bringing that up. That was awesome. That was awesome. It's a part of what makes college football so. It was great. Oklahoma State lost the game, but they won in other ways. I tell you that. That was fantastic. Okay, guys. I appreciate you all coming on in. This was the Aftermath Show, PATC of Week 7. The big story, Penn State fires James Franklin. Wow. After Week 7. We have got so much to get to this week. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications because you're going to want to know when we come on live. There's going to be big breaking news, possibly tomorrow, possibly Tuesday, possibly tonight. I don't know. Keep your head on a swivel. We've got Mike Norvell sitting out there. We've got Billy Napier sitting out there. And then we've got the massive story about the Big Ten possibly voting on Monday or Tuesday for that public capital investment deal. And if that happens, Katie bar the door, put your head between your knees, buckle up, brace for impact. So we have got a lot of big things going on this week as we head into Week 8. Football, coaching carousel, and what is happening in the Big Ten. I want to thank John Teal, Christopher Hooter, Heartbreak 25, Anthony Carlson, MBM, Ricky Tungate, Ryan, Willie. Thank you guys so much for your generosity to help us keep the lights on and to grow the channel. I want to thank all of you so very much. Linda Olson thinks Matt Campbell will be the next Penn State coach. And Jason Cano will be the next Iowa State coach. Wow. Sean, it is unbelievable you can be the favorite to win the Big Ten and the Natty, and by Week 7, it's over. It's all over. I'm watching and playing McDonald's Monopoly right now. I won nothing. Thank you, PS, for letting us know. Greg mentioned early that he has a little bit Big Ten news. Yeah. Once again, when the news, I'll just end it like this. When the reporting was going on. Oh, by the way, let me show you this here. Let me show you this. CBS Sports, college football. To me, there's one name that the search starts with, and that's Matt Rule at Nebraska. We think he's number one on the list. We said earlier in the program today, we think he's number one on our hot board list. In regards to the Big Ten, when the reports came out that it was up to $2 billion, we were told that it's going to have to be more for the deal to get done. Right now it's at $2.4 billion. We believe at Peek Around the Corner, another door has been opened to us, and it was told to us that if this deal gets done, the lifetime of the deal is going to exceed $2.4 billion cash infusion to the Big Ten schools. Do we have the number? No, we don't. But again, it was told to us it's going to exceed $2.4 billion. Am I for this public capital investment deal? I have no idea. All of my questions are going to surround this Big Ten Enterprises. How is it going to work? Who are these experts that are going to magically create all this money? I want to know. I want to know what the Big Ten Enterprises is all about. But it is going to be massive breaking news if it happens, and it might happen Monday, Tuesday. We might get the breaking news later tonight. So keep your head on a swivel. Buckle up and brace for impact. We are going to cover that news here at Peek Around the Corner. So please join us when it all goes down. And again, we're going to be talking about Week 8. A lot of big games on Week 8. Holy smokes. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, from all of us at PATC to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. And as always, God, family, and even without an offensive line, Golden Gophers.